Welcome home, Rep Pack. Marcus here, and welcome to Comfort Cartoons, the show where I collect absolutely everything from the late 90s, 2000s, all the way to the modern day. And I'm also trying to curate the world's biggest Spongebob and the world's biggest Nickelodeon collection. But not just that, the CEO of this channel has also appeared as an NPC inside of SpongeBob's Battle for Bikini Bottom. But I hope you beautiful people are having an amazing day, and if you guys aren't, you know the drill. SpongeBob video games, camera flip. It's about to get a whole lot brighter, Rep Pack, because your boy is here, and today we are going to be diving into all of SpongeBob's video game appearances. If you guys are new to this channel, this is an ongoing series where I started off with talking about all the times that SpongeBob found his way into other Nickelodeon properties. Then we went over to Cartoon Network and saw many occasions where he appeared there as well, and believe it or not, we even did Disney. This is so far a three-part series. This is episode number 4. So if you guys haven't seen those previous episodes, go check them out. There are some mind-blowing references and little Easter eggs in some of the shows you would least expect them to be in. But today we are going to be covering video games. Our man of many costumes, SpongeBob here, has appeared in a lot of video games. Of course, games that were made to be SpongeBob games by Nickelodeon. Tens of them, maybe even 100 of them or more. And there's been many Nickelodeon tie-in games too, like Nick Kart Racers. But we're not talking about any of those today. Today, we're gonna be talking about all the other games that have nothing to do with SpongeBob or even Nickelodeon that referenced or brought SpongeBob into their world. And it's gonna be so much fun going through this list because many of these games I have played. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this list and check out all SpongeBob's different appearances through video game media. So we're gonna be starting off with the references, Easter eggs, stuff where he was not supposed to be there, and we'll be finishing this video up with DLCs. So if you're thinking about a certain DLC that incorporated SpongeBob, save it till the end because we'll definitely be covering a lot of those, if not all of them, at the end of this video. But let's start off with the references. First one off, Borderlands. I personally played Borderlands 1, 2, and damn, I wish I would have played 3 because there is a SpongeBob reference in Borderlands 3 in the 4th DLC. If you play for a little while, you will come across a location that looks very, very familiar, except for in a very deranged and horrific style. Flesh-built pineapple house. And if you knock on this door, a boss will come out that is named SpongeBob Bullet Pants. And if you didn't already kind of look like SpongeBob, have the name, have the pineapple under the apocalyptic wasteland, then his attack, shooting bubbles, would definitely seal the deal. A very, very tough boss to take down, and not just that, an amazing Easter egg. So we're gonna continue on this list. Like I said, some of these games you would never expect. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. Speaking of unexpected locations, we have Hitman 2, which is a game I played growing up, but this is actually one of two. One supposedly is in a DLC. If we can find the footage, we'll put it up on screen after this. But the first appearance of our man SpongeBob is actually in an aquarium in Hitman 2, where they show a relatively empty aquarium chamber, but it does contain a pineapple, a sea sponge, and a particular pink starfish, which I think makes the reference a for sure thing. Next one, going back to the Borderlands world, there's also another spin-off game called Tiny Tina's Wonderland. And on a cemetery location, you'll actually find a complete skeletal system with a certain drinking hat on it that could be worth $1 million.
Sir, I'll give you $1 million for that hat.
And of course, all these video games are made by people, so I love seeing them so much because it's like you can tell how big of a fan they are of SpongeBob to be able to add such kind of a little bit of a deep cut into the actual game. It just shows you how popular SpongeBob is and how the love for him transcends into all media. Moving on, in the 2021 indie game Lake, there is a small appearance from a pink starfish and a yellow sponge on Mr. Mankey's dock. So the next one up is from Halo 2, and I remember being in like middle school at this time when this game came out and people talking about SpongeBob's pineapple that you could actually see in the ocean. I never actually was able to locate it, but I do have some footage here of what should be SpongeBob's pineapple. This one may be a little bit of a stretch. It just could have been some leftover game material, like a piece of bush that was left out there. But that doesn't end it with Halo, okay? Because we have one coming actually directly from some Halo content, and that is from the Halo TV series. Yes, this is technically not a video game, but it's a TV show made about a video game, and we're talking about video games that are making references to a TV show, so I think they fit in just as well. In the Halo TV series, on Reeth's desk, you can actually see Squidward's house on his desk, which we actually have one right here, so we could say that we actually have a prop from the Halo TV series series. Very, very cool reference. I'm sure they just picked this up at Walmart like I did when they were trying to look for some relic type items. And you know what? Squidward's house is quite a relic, even though there seems to be hundreds of them.
Oh, look, everybody's on their bike today.
So in Plants vs. Zombies, one of my favorite games growing up, like whether it was playing it on my old iPod Touch or I was also playing the DS game, I've always loved Plants vs. Zombies. Even this game I've actually played, which is Garden Warfare. I loved playing it online, whether it was being a zombie or a plant. It was always a good time. And on the map Driftwood Shores, there's actually a store location named Porous Bob's, which is a scuba shop, but I mean, based off the way they actually put the text in there, it definitely looks very sponge, and of course we know our man Spongebob is, well, porous is he. And that one personally, one of my favorite ones on this list, because I love Plants vs. Zombies. I love the two of the things I love very, very much coming together like that is amazing. So the next one is a big one for me because throughout doing the research for this video, I looked so hard to find any Nintendo references. I'm a huge Nintendo fan, so it would have been amazing to find SpongeBob tie-in or references that have happened with Nintendo, and it almost next to never happens. But I do have one that is really, really good. And it's actually technically more of a tie-in, which I should say for the end of the video, but it's such a rarity that I needed to include it. And that is Splatoon, where they actually had an event called Team SpongeBob versus Team Patrick, where you actually got to pledge your allegiance to one of the two teams, whether it be Team SpongeBob or Team Patrick. And it would come with a shirt for your character with the mascot, whether it be SpongeBob or Patrick, on your shirt. And during a 48-hour period, teams of SpongeBob or Patrick would go head to head, and whichever team covered the most surface area in that 48 hours would be the winner of the Splatoon competition. So you just play as many games as you want, and the more land you cover, they essentially added it as votes towards the winning team at the end of the event, which the winning team was Team just Patrick. It was Patrick's team that won. I love Patrick, but I think SpongeBob's team should have won. Next one up we've got here is Destiny, a huge, huge game right now, and has been for quite a few years at this point. For Pride Month, actually included a little imagination emote into the game, which I think is beautiful. Always amazing when they show inclusivity in any video game or property, but I love that the way they've used SpongeBob's imagination meme kind of as a way to promote equality and gaming or wherever else they decide to use it. Next up we have is Ratchet and Clank. Personally, I was always more of a Jack and Dexter kind of guy, but Ratchet and Clank is also huge as well. I mean, it's got its own movie, so I guess it's pretty popular. But in the radio in the game, you'll actually hear a very familiar Sailor tune from SpongeBob. And of course, we've seen that song in many SpongeBob episodes. Here's one for example. And that song is called Drunken Sailor, so it could have just been that that is a fair use song, so therefore they included it. Or maybe the fact that it was a SpongeBob reference, or maybe both. Maybe it was the fact that it was a fair use song and it was a SpongeBob reference. Why not include it? So I think that was a really unique one, and I mean, I think that definitely just in general they could probably do that. I mean, there's so many songs and assets that have become iconic from shows that are technically fair use that I think would be cool just to incorporate in some ways like that. Next up, we have another one that's from my childhood, straight out of it, from the Lego video game franchise. Went out of my way many times to 100% complete because I had so much fun with them, but I've not played this one, and that is Lego Legends of Chima, which I could be butchering that name, but nonetheless there's an amazing reference to our main man Squiddy in Lavelle's Journey, where if you swim under the water for a little while you may see a familiar Eastern Island head. Next up we have Henry Stickmin, which is a very, very popular game. I did not know it was as popular as it actually is until I did the research for this video. But in Stealing the Diamond, you can actually find our main man Painty the Pirate in the game. Which, if you guys don't know, Painty the Pirate, his lips are Steven Hillenburg, so I guess you could say this is Steven Hillenburg's video game appearance as well, through his lips. And there's also a character in the game called Bob Pants, which I mean is definitely very similar to Bob Squarepants, so I mean, I think there's a double reference there as well too. Next up we got Gone Fishing, which is a PC game, and one of the items that the little boy can be caught reeling out of the water is actually SpongeBob himself. Like, that is one of the most, like, egregious, like, just straight reference. Like, it's literally SpongeBob. Like, it's literally just SpongeBob that comes up out of the water. I don't know how they got away with that one, but, you know, the more power to them. Next up, we have Guardians of the Rift, where if you explore underwater for a little while, you may see a certain street, you know, that you might use to also call Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy a certain conch street. Just look at the reference. Squidward's house is a little wonky, but that is definitely Conch Street. Some of these things you guys say that I'm like stretching, you know, on certain episodes. I mean, pretty much, I have a lot of evidence of these things, people. And this one, I think without a doubt, I don't even need to show you any extra evidence. That's Conch Street. Next up, we have Hearthstone, which is a huge card game, which derived from actually another video game, The Witcher. And the people that make this card game are definitely fans of SpongeBob. There's no question. Right here, we have on screen a character from a promo image that actually has Patrick as his knees. His knees, you're like, oh, hey, that might not be Patrick, Marcus. Oh, here you go, stretching again. Stretching again. You see, look at the spear thing. Look at the top of the spear. Look at that horn. And then look at the sponge that is sitting on top of that thorn. Okay? You can't tell me this isn't a SpongeBob reference, okay? I'm not crazy. And there's also a card in the game called Chum Bucket, which is an actual thing, but the developer himself has come out and said that that was a direct reference to SpongeBob. There's also Patches the Pirate, which is very similar to Patchy the Pirate. There's a lot of cards that actually reference SpongeBob itself, so I think that they do a really good job of pulling it off in a fun, unique way. And if you don't know SpongeBob or don't care about SpongeBob, you can still enjoy the design and everything about it the way it is. And if you do know SpongeBob, it gives you a nice little chuckle. Those are personally my favorite type of Easter eggs. Like, I do love the ones where it's like a starfish and a sponge just kind of sitting there, but when they incorporate it into the world, like for example the Sponge Boss bullet pants that we saw in Borderlands, those are my favorite, to where it puts them in there in a unique way that's inspired, but it doesn't pull you away from the game too much, because you're just like, okay, well, if you have no clue who he is, then you could still just beat this boss or see this card and not even think too much of it, but it's a little inside joke. Next up, we have from the game that our parents and friends made us play, even though we didn't want to, on the Wii, and threw us into almost paralyzing states of awkwardness, Just Dance. We have Just Dance 2017 that actually has a exercise level called the Boxer Machine, where you'll hear the iconic boxing style theme, I guess, from the Krusty Krab training video. Another situation where that could be very likely just fair use of music, so therefore they used it. Could be a direct reference to SpongeBob again, could be a 2-in-1, but nonetheless, there is definitely a connection there that happened, whether on purpose or not. Next up in rhythm games, we've got Rock Band here, and Rock Band number 4, definitely 2 Rock Bands after I stopped playing it, unfortunately. But I wish I would have stuck around for Rock Band 4, where you actually get to play a couple of SpongeBob songs, including Best Day Ever. None of those characters look like they can carry Tom Kenny's voice, but nonetheless, it makes an appearance, and I would love to rock out to it for sure. Get a nice little goofy goober guitar, you know, modified Rock Band guitar, and I would be shredded. That's enough of a reason for me to play Rock Band again. And finally, we have Snail Bob 2, which I don't know if you guys have played that game, but if you have, Snail Bob 2, where you could actually see a picture of Gary the Snail on Bob's wall, and it says Cousin Gary. So Gary is a Snail Bob's cousin. I guess that's the fact now, at least in Bob's world. Okay, so now we have covered as many references, Easter eggs, tie-in, crossover appearances, whatever you want to call them, as you possibly can. But if you guys have any more, let me know down below. But next, we have to cover DLC. These are times where SpongeBob appeared in video games, but it was completely intentionally. I didn't want to add these into these lists because the other ones were very, very creatively, uniquely added. And of course, these are too, but they're definitely working hand in hand with Viacom/Nickelodeon to make them happen. So let's cover those ones. First on the list, we have a personal favorite of mine. We have the SpongeBob Minecraft tie-in, the SpongeBob Minecraft DLC actually, which we actually covered here on this show. Had a blast playing it. But not just that, they've actually updated that DLC where the Flying Dutchman, Pearl, Mr. Krabs make an appearance as well too, and I'm definitely gonna have to get on playing those ones as well so we can check them out. After that, we've got Fall Guys, which has an appearance by inserting SpongeBob related costumes into the game. You get to play as Patrick, Sandy, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, of course SpongeBob himself, and even a underwater sea floral pattern. Next we have Madden DLC, which kind of is a 2-in-1 because Nickelodeon actually airs NFL games now with their own kind of edits and unique takes to them, and sometimes you even have games where, for example, Patrick Star plays an announcer for the games.
That's called an intraception.
But in the Madden DLC, it is a whole SpongeBob collaboration where you get to see so many different costumes, different references to the iconic Nickelodeon character. And not just that, there's even freaking bobbleheads that SpongeBob released that are NFL themed, where it's SpongeBob bobbleheads with just different jerseys and helmets on. They've really incorporated themselves with the NFL really well, so that in itself is just one big giant collaboration. Next up we have Roblox, which is a huge game right now. If you don't play it, your little brother does, and if he doesn't play it, then you do, or your mom or your dad, or somebody you know plays Roblox. Don't lie, you know somebody plays Roblox. But there are so many Roblox tie-ins. There was a Nickelodeon crossover Roblox DLC that was available, along with many different worlds, games that incorporated them. One in specific I'm going to mention here is the Islands DLC, where you can actually collect a Patrick Star totem or statue that was in promotion for the Patrick Star TV show. A little bit of a throwback one, we have SpongeBob's collaboration as well with Little Big Planet, which has some really cool maps and also very similar to Fall Guys, some different costume changes you can make on your Sackboy character. Then we've got also SpongeBob Drawn to Life, which is technically a SpongeBob video game in itself, but there's SpongeBob's Drawn to Life, which is a collaboration game with the actual game Drawn to Life. But the game takes on a form where SpongeBob draws stuff to life in a very Doodle Bob episode-esque way. A lot of fun. I have the game in the collection here personally, and a really cool crossover full-length title, which is just cool. I can't even actually name any other SpongeBob just full-blown crossover games that aren't just like DLC. And finally, we have the SpongeBob Hot Wheels collaboration, the race season where they actually incorporated SpongeBob Hot Wheels. We have many of the SpongeBob Hot Wheels here in the collection, and for a limited time, you could actually race as those Hot Wheels in the Hot Wheel game, which is just so freaking cool. And that game looks so cool. I never played it, but damn, that looks fun. I mean, I love Forza, you know, those games are awesome too, like actually racing, you know, but I live in Southern California. I drive enough. But racing on a Hot Wheels track, heck yeah, I would definitely do that. That's just a level of juvenile antics injected into it that makes it fun for me. So I definitely would probably check that game out. I have not played it, but look forward to checking it out in the future, hopefully, if there's some still way to play that. And finally, we have another game that we covered here, which is the SpongeBob Power Washer DLC, where they added SpongeBob's world along with a full-length story that you could play cleaning up Bikini Bottom against the grimy dirt of the dirty bubble. And again, we covered that here on the show, so go check that out if you guys haven't already. But that does finish our list here today. That was a banger of a video, if you ask me, and so much fun, a mind-blowing or corrupting or expanding, whatever way you want to look at it, experience of trying to do all the research and learning about all these different references. So many of these games I personally played myself and didn't even realize that those references were in them. If you guys have seen some of these Easter eggs while playing these games, let me know how many of these you experienced or saw while playing yourself down below. If you think that I missed some, let me know down below. But you never know, we could do a part 2 to this one down the line. And let me know what you want me to cover next. We still have yet to cover SpongeBob's appearances in live action television, whether it be shows like The Office, Alvin and the Chipmunks the movie. There's a lot of times where SpongeBob appeared in real life. So if you want me to cover that or anything else, let me know down below. If you guys haven't already, check me out on Patreon. It is the #1 way to help keep the lights on here in the cavern so things don't go dark. You'll also get an extended version of this video and also every other video that I upload on YouTube. So go check it out. It comes with a bunch of additional perks as well too. So go take a look at it. I would greatly appreciate it. And also don't forget I'm on Whatnot as well, where if you want $15 to buy absolutely anything that you love as far as collectibles go, you get 15 bucks for free. If you go check out Whatnot, I stream there every Wednesday and Friday, but you get $15 free towards a collection piece. There's so many people listing video games, SpongeBob related items over there, and you can get some of those items for free or a deep discount using that free 15 bucks. So don't miss that opportunity. The link will be down below, and I'll see you guys over in this video that I know you're gonna love. And as always, Rep Pack, I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Adios and bloop.